Hi everyone and welcome to this week's video. Today I'm going to show you the process behind this edit inspired by the song Talking to the Moon by Bruno Mars. If you saw the TV show Bly Manor, you noticed that this song fits Jamie all too well. So that's why I decided to use this show and this specific character to illustrate this beautiful song. So enough talking now and let's just jump into it. I chose an image of a lake because if you saw Bly Manor, you'll know why. Now I'm editing the sky by going to Edit and Sky Replacement. It's the quickest way to do it. And I chose to go with the blue colors. Now I'm going to edit the water. So I'm adding a levels and selective color adjustment layer so you can modify the colors but also the brightness and the contrast of the picture. What I'm doing here is adding a bit of blue and cyan to match the water with the sky. Now I'm going to add the sky's reflection on the water by duplicating the sky layer and then inverting it and then setting the blending option on screen. Now I'm just adding a bit of field blur and then I'm adding the moon in the sky. So I'm just going to import a new image and then setting the blending mode onto luminosity, and then I'm going to do the same thing for the moon's reflection on the water. Then I'm going to adjust a bit the colors with the selective color layer adjustment and then just lowering a bit the opacity of the layer. I'm creating a new layer to add a bit of halo on the moon, because when it's bright like this, you often see a kind of halo around the moon. So that's what I'm doing here. And then I'm going to set the layer blending mode onto screen. So I wasn't really happy with the look of the sky, so I decided to remove it and just go with the original sky. It still wasn't great, so to make it a bit more interesting, I decided to add a bit stars in it. So I just edited the sky once again by going to Edit and Sky Replacement and then changed the colors by going to color balance and then adding a bit of blue to this sky to match the original one. So now I'm going to create a new layer to add a bit of fog in the background, so it will blend everything together even more. To add more depth into the composition, I placed 3 branches in the foreground. Remove the parts I didn't want, and then resized it. And then to blend everything together, I just modified the colors with the color balance and then did the same thing with the exposure to adjust the brightness. And to make it even more realistic, I added a bit of field blur by going to Filter and Blur Gallery. Next, I'm importing the image of Jamie. It's not the best quality because I had to take a screenshot because I couldn't find the picture I wanted for this edit. To blend the edges in the water, I created a new layer mask and then selected my brush tool, setting the color on black and then sliding the opacity to 15% here. And then I just removed the part I didn't want. Now I'm going to color correct Jamie by once again selecting the color balance and selective color and then playing with the colors to just match the sky and the water. Time to draw the highlight. To do that, I created a new solid color, choose the color white, and then setting the blending mode into overlay. And then I selected my brush tool, choosing the color white, and then I just drew onto the subject where I thought the highlight should be. And then I did the same thing with the exposure. And this time I'm adding a bit of fog in the foreground. So here you can see that I was trying to add a bit of highlight on the trees behind, but it wasn't a great technique to do it, so I just gave up. So I'm just going to add a bit of sparks in it. So I'm just going to select my brush tool and spark brush. So if you're wondering where I find all my stock photos and brushes and musics and etc., the answer is in Vado Elements. That's what I'm using for a year now, and it changed completely my life because everything is in the same place. So if you're interested, I'll put a link in the description below. So since the moon is behind, I'm just going to draw a shadow. Then I'm setting the blending mode into overlay and then setting the opacity to 70%. My idea here is to add some petals floating on the water, so I'm just going to select them and then creating a new layer mask. I'm just going to create a reflection, so I'm going to draw the shadow. Then changing the color with the hue and saturation layer. Now I'm going to create a new exposure, setting the brightness up and then just drawing the highlight with it. Now I'd like to add a moonflower into Jamie's hands, so I'm just selecting the moonflower, creating a new layer mask. And then I'm going to add an exposure and color balance layers, and then adjusting the colors and adding some shadows. Now it's time to paint the highlights, so I'm going to create a new solid color with the overlay blending mode, and then painting onto the layer mask with the white color. So now I'm just going to paint some details and remove some, and then to finish it I'm going to add the filter camera raw to blend everything together. Thank you guys for watching, and I hope you enjoyed this video. If you like this type of content, don't forget to subscribe to my channel and activate the notification bell. You can also check my Instagram account to see all my previous work. And don't forget, take care.